Let's talk about herbs in this edition of WJTS-Inform. Hello, I'm Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Jan Dougan. She is the DuBois County Extension Educator who informs us every Wednesday about important vegetables and fruits and meats and ways to live life. It's great that you come in. And today we're going to talk about herbs.
Well,
or herbs. I would say herbs.
Herbs?
Some people, I've heard people call them herbs. They're not herbs, they're herbs.
They are herbs. Yes, they are. And you know what? I really appreciate the opportunity to come in and share what we can share with our viewers. We're just really trying to make it easy for people to make the healthy choice. Mm-hmm. So if we can make the healthy choice the easy choice, we're going to have healthier people.
Now, when I look at herbs, they look like vegetables. Are they vegetables or are they fruits, or is that like a third? Is it fruits, vegetables, and herbs?
They're classified as either fruit or vegetable. I think they're in a class all of their own.
So if I have a plate, what part of my plate can that count as?
This enhances the food on your plate, so that you're going to be more likely to enjoy it and eat it and not use salt.
Ah, okay.
Because when we think about flavoring foods and the flavors that we want to enjoy and that we taste, herbs really can enhance the flavor of foods and give it that little aha or that little zing. Mm-hmm. Someone famous says, kick it up a notch.
Right.
You know, so seasoning helps. And you know, as we get a little older, and we're kind of in that class, Bill, as we're aging and getting a little older, you know, to make things really have that good taste and be able to taste it and enjoy it, we maybe have to kick it up a notch a little bit. And herbs are one way that we can do that.
They seem to add a freshness to the taste.
Yes.
It might be another way for me to look at it.
Yes.
So.
And so we can take the same dish, so that we could take pasta, and if we add one herb to it, it's gonna taste one way, and then take that same pasta, and if we add a different herb to it, it's gonna have a totally different flavor. Okay. So it's a great way to experiment, have fun in the kitchen, identify the taste that you like, and then utilize it that way. So I went out this morning and I clipped some of my herbs from my small herb garden that I have. And really, you don't need much space for an herb garden. Mm-hmm. You need sun, you need good soil, good drainage, and really, if it's accessible to your kitchen, you're more likely to use those herbs then more often. So I walk out my back kitchen door and there's a little area in my landscaping that I've just turned that corner into an herb garden. Because most of them do flower, so at different times they have nice flowers on them that they're green and some flower, and it's just a great thing, and they smell wonderful. So it's a great way that you can use herbs in your landscaping.
I know a lot of times in the store you can buy like a little herb kit.
Yes.
It'll be little pots. They'll sit in a nice decorative dish.
Yes.
And it comes all complete with everything you need. So you know that's something that you can grow just as a complement to your patio or in your windowsill.
Sure.
I guess.
Sure.
So it's easy to grow herbs.
Sure. So I'm gonna. The viewers are going to enjoy this tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm going to test Bill to see if he knows some of these herbs. And I'll start with this one that I cut this morning. And so you might be able to identify by looking. You might be able to identify by smell.
Mm-hmm. This is chive.
Yes, it is.
And I know it because of the flower well and the stem.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is chive. So did you know that the flower on the chive is edible?
No, I always cut that off, throw it away. And I try not to let it go to flower. But what kind of flavor does it have?
It tastes like the chive.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But so if you have a salad and you want to just, you know, make it look a little special, you can throw that chive flower in there. You can actually pull it apart, you know, and so you'll have little pieces that you can throw in. This is going to work for me.
The chive is kind of oniony, but very mild.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So this could be thrown in. Make it look really interesting on top of the salad.
A nice purple flower.
Yeah.
Yes.
So chive is sort of an onion flavor. You're right about that. It's great to use to cook in olive oil and to give the olive oil a chive-like oniony flavor, in addition to maybe a little garlic. And then you could use that to saute vegetables. You could use that in a pasta. Chives are also really good just as a decorative addition to a salad or any kind of casserole that we're going to make. Eggs, chives are great on eggs. So lots of different ways that you can use chives. But
you can cut it small, or you can cut it, I wouldn't think you'd cut it more than a 1/2 inch long.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
probably more like a 1/4 inch, 1/8
Right,
inch kind of.
right,
Okay.
right. I'd just take the scissors or the chef knife to that and just clip them so that they're small. Always good on top of a baked potato with maybe some Greek yogurt
Right.
rather than sour cream.
Well, I was thinking sour cream and chive, but okay.
Greek yogurt.
would be
yeah.
a good, sure.
Or add them to Greek yogurt and as a dip that you use for fresh vegetables or for crackers or breads. So that's good. So just some ways that you can use chives. Let's go to this one. Any idea what this one looks like?
Let me smell it.
Smell that one.
Dill.
Yes.
That is dill, yes.
You're 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2. I know another one just by sight. But
Love the smell of that
yes.
dill.
Yeah.
Great. You know, one of the things that I do for demonstrations locally is I do salmon patties. And one of my ingredients in salmon patties is fresh dill. It makes a world of difference of how those salmon patties taste. So you can just use canned salmon and some crackers, some eggs, but add that fresh dill in there. It just really makes them delicious.
And again, just chop it up or cut it up with the
Yeah,
scissors.
exactly. Also good in salads. A lot of people don't think about adding dill to salads, but that's good.
That is, I would not have thought of that. I would have thought of adding it to meats.
Yes, it's good in meats, good with fish. We use a lot of dill with fish. Eggs, good with eggs. So like egg salad, you know, you want a little bit different flavor, add this dill to that. Any other ways you think you might want to use dill?
I know you use dill to pickle.
Yes.
And I guess you can use fresh dill for that.
Yes, you
which
can.
should use maybe.
You can.
Other than a seasoning.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
You could also, well, eggs, I mentioned eggs. I really like it on eggs. It's really tasty. But chopping it up and just putting it in a salad really gives that fresh flavor that's really different and unique. So,
and I like dill. I like the flavor of dill. That would be good in a salad. Didn't think of that. Peppermint.
You think?
No. Yes. I should think she was testing me. That is
Here it
peppermint.
is.
Has to be.
What is that?
Peppermint.
It's mint.
Spearmint.
It's just mint.
Oh, just
okay?
okay.
Just regular mint. Okay.
Okay.
Boy.
That's great. You know,
Great
the nice
with
thing
lamb. Mint is great with lamb.
Well, what I like mint for is if you have it in your landscaping, when you go outside, brush it, and that smell then goes out.
Yes. And that's a
Okay,
great
but on
smell.
lamb, for cooking.
Great for on lamb, great for in some salads again, or mint is great on vegetables. Gives a little bit different flavor. You can make your own mint tea, or add this to iced tea to make it a minted tea. You can put it in hot or cold. I mean, it's just great. But boy, that flavor is great.
Yeah, and the smell is really good.
Love that.
Okay, now I called it peppermint. You said that's not right. It's mint, which
It's
just
just
makes sense
mint.
to me because I know
Right.
I've had chocolate mint. It's a real dark leaf, kind of has a little chocolatey flavor, but there is a lot of varieties of
There
mint.
are very many varieties of mint. Yes, there are. And some grow better than others. Now, one of the things about mint is it's a runner. So it takes off.
Yes.
It takes off. So you really have to contain it in some kind of container. You could bury that container in the ground and actually put your mint in there so it won't go crazy on you. But it is a runner. So
You put it in your landscaping, it will take over.
Yes. So you know, if that's what you want, fine. But if that's not what you want, you need to be aware of that ahead of time. Okay?
Okay, so I'm 3 for 3.
You are.
I'm 3 for
he
3.
is doing so great, viewers. 3 for 3. So here's one. The next one.
This is where I might not
What do you
make
think
it.
this one is?
I'm going to say this is basil. This is oregano.
Yes, very good. The
I
basil.
think what it is you've been educating me, so I'm learning as we go.
You know, I didn't bring any basil today. The basil leaf looks very much like this, but it's a much larger leaf than this. But the smell would be completely different. But this is oregano. So oregano is really popular in Greek or Mediterranean dishes. So if you think about pasta or things like that that you might, it's really good with cucumbers, something different. Yeah, you can season cucumbers with it. But spaghetti, pizza, those kinds of things, oregano
just clip
would
the
be
little
in.
leaves off and just drop them around.
Let's see if this will work. Usually you can
Okay,
just
strip 'em?
strip
Okay.
strip it like this, pull them off, and strip it, and then you have the leaves to use.
By
But
the
you
way, it
can
smells
use
really good in the studio today.
you can use it
nice.
for chopping. I mean, you can chop it too, and if you get some of the stem in, that's okay. No
Okay,
problem.
not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. But that's oregano. Now, here's the last one, the last of our quiz today.
Marjoram?
No. Sister of marjoram.
Oh, yeah, the sister. I knew
The
that.
sister of marjoram. I call it the sister.
It's not tarragon.
This is thyme.
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 I thought thyme had the long
This is
needle-like.
thyme.
Ah, okay.
This is thyme.
That is thyme.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great smell.
Great smell. So how does that, and this is one thing I like to encourage people to do, is when you smell that, what kinds of foods do you think about? That you think, oh wow, that would be good with?
See, me, it's always grilled steak.
Oh, grilled steak. Thyme
You know,
would be good with
yeah.
grilled steak.
As long as it's a small
Yeah.
portion, just make sure you watch your portion.
And you know, if you marinate a steak, you might want to put some of this in the marinade of the steak. That would be a great idea. I like to put thyme in with vegetables I'm sauteing or grilling.
Sure.
And
Okay.
actually, you know, if you want to do the old, what do we call it, the foil packet that you put on the grill and you put vegetables in it and everything.
A tinfoil stew is what I always call it. But
okay, so that kind of campfire stew.
Okay.
So that kind of concept, you just take the foil and you put whatever you want in it with a little olive oil, and then throw the thyme in with it. Like if it's
Fresh.
potatoes, yeah, potatoes or carrots or whatever peppers you're cooking, and throw that thyme in there with it. That'd be great. That'd be a great taste.
That's kind of it's real small leaves.
Yes.
Is it okay to have the stems? You just
Yes.
clip it, just kind of
Yes.
chop it up with a...
You can chop it up with your scissors. I really like chopping with scissors. You can also chop with a knife, but I like to put my herbs into a bowl or something and then just take the scissors and just chop.
Okay.
This should strip easily. Also, you could just strip these leaves off of this stem.
Okay. And use
So
it that
then,
way.
yeah, then I have them in my hand there.
And then you also have that great smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, great. So, a couple things that people also need to know about fresh herbs, that if you've got a recipe that calls for thyme and it says a teaspoon of thyme, how many teaspoons of fresh herbs do you think you're going to need to add?
I don't know. Is that smashed down or is that like a bundle? I
Well,
don't know.
the general rule of thumb is if a recipe is you take it times 3. So if a recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, we're going to put a tablespoon or 3 teaspoons of fresh thyme in the recipe.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of times when we cook with herbs, we want to add them in the end. We don't want to cook with them the whole time. Sometimes, like the foil packet, that's fine to put it in there.
Okay.
You know, they might turn brown, but they're still going to have the flavoring in there and everything. So just some really easy things that you can do with herbs that you can grow in your landscaping or at home.
Well, herbs you generally think of buying the dried packets ready
Right.
to go. Which is the best way to go?
Well, I prefer fresh, but I don't grow them indoors, so I can't have them fresh all year, but at least 6 months I can have fresh herbs. And then I do dry my own herbs, so let's talk a little bit about that if
sure.
we've got some
Yes.
time, how quick and easy that is to do. So if I wanted to dry, let's say I want to dry oregano. So what I would do is I would go out and I would harvest my oregano after the dew has dried, but before the sun gets really high, so before noon.
Okay.
And I would wash them in cool water, and I would dry them the best I can, probably with paper towels or even dish towels.
Okay.
And then I would bundle my herbs together like this. I actually take and put a bunch together and put a rubber band around the
Okay.
stems, and then I cover them with a tea towel that I have, and I hang them on a hanger, and I have a dry space in my home that I can hang that hanger then
Okay.
and let them dry. And that will take several weeks for them to dry. And then when they're completely dry, I take them and I put them in zip-type baggies to use all winter long.
And you've got them all year long.
Right, right.
And you know what's really nice now? The stores
Yes.
have in the produce section, we'll have fresh herbs all year long that you can
Yes.
buy ready to go, just like this. If
So-
you're unable to grow it yourself.
So yes, you can do that. And then using your own dried ones, though, look how much money you can be saving.
Sure.
You know, and you know something that I've noticed that people will buy a dried herb in the grocery and then they'll put it in their kitchen pantry and they'll use a little bit of it and then maybe use a little bit later on, and you know, those go out of date.
They lose their flavor.
They do.
Yeah.
So when you open a jar of dried herbs, if it doesn't have a nose to it, if you cannot smell oregano, then
Don't
you
use
need
it.
a new
Okay.
one. Right.
About how long do they last? You know?
It varies.
Okay.
It varies the different kinds of herbs. It varies. Yeah.
But the
So
nose test would be a great way to
The
go.
nose test
Okay.
is great.
And fresh is always nosy.
It is nosy.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Well, you did so great on your quiz.
What'd you have? 5? I had 4 of the 5.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I was going to kind of guess time, but after I was going through my other ones. What's the one that's like? It's rosemary. That's like a
Rosemary.
needle. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's really
It's
easy
like
to
a
grow.
pine. It looks
Yeah.
like an evergreen. I mean, sort of. You know, that's very easy to grow, and I love rosemary. I love to do the same thing with rosemary, like with either beef that I'm going to do on the grill, or vegetables, potatoes, or roasted vegetables.
And it grows to a
Rosemary's
nice.
great on it.
It'll grow a nice bush.
Yeah, and that's one that's very easy to grow inside, that you could have year round.
Yeah. Well, let's start growing herbs.
So the one thing we haven't mentioned, though, is how do you make sure that you have an ample supply of herbs? Do you know that?
Just look in my cabinet, and when I don't have any, then I don't have an ample supply.
Well, your fresh ones.
Oh, my fresh ones.
Your fresh
How do I
ones.
know? What do you mean?
Well, you got to trim them. You got to use
Yes,
them.
okay.
The more you cut them, the more they grow. So don't think I'm not going to cut those because, you know.
Well, they also don't get so stemmy.
Right,
You know, the more you
exactly.
trim them down, the more you use
Right.
them. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And so give them to your friends and neighbors. They will love you if you give them fresh herbs. And they
Yes.
don't know that you're just clipping them back to save your own herbs.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
So you should always keep them clipped.
Yeah.
Keep them
Keep
managed.
working on them. Right. Yeah.
Right. Jan,
Don't
thank you very
let-
much for
yeah.
coming in. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about herbs. Start using fresh herbs in your dishes at home. Jan Dougan, the Du Bois County Extension Agent, who is available if you have questions. By the way, she loves to come and speak to your groups. So if you want to have her come and talk to your group about different things, give Jan a call. She's like an encyclopedia of knowledge. Thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We're local people watching local people.